Two. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Introspections. I'm Eduardo Del Buey. I'm here with Bettina Clark, my co-host and my co-writer and my partner in crime. We are here today to discuss Bettina's article on creativity and chaos. To join us and talk about her creative experience, we have Claudia Solis, who served as cultural attaché at the Canadian Embassy in Mexico from 1995 on. I know because I hired her, and she is a tremendous cultural promoter, and she is a wonderful poet also, who has been translated into French and who is also participating in many festivals and many conferences. Bettina, first, I want to welcome you and see if you have a few words you'd like to say before I monopolize this.
You don't, Eduardo. I'm so happy that you do the introduction. And hello, Claudia. Can I just jump into the subject? Creativity, very important to my life. I would say it's my core source for everything in my coaching as well. In this article, we are describing the space of creativity as the space in between chaos, and order or structure, highly intense energy. And how does this picture fit into your poetry, Claudia? I'm interested.
Well, Bettina, it's great talking to you. My poems, my poetry, have the intention to build amongst the whirlwind of chaos, the tragedy and the sublime and the unexplicable, an architecture of beauty.
Wow. That sounds to me like transformation in work between what is disturbed to what is becoming perfect, maybe beauty as perfect as perfection.
Yes, in part, yes, I agree. It can be beauty, but that's a very complicated subject. Beauty, there's beauty. What it is, we have to go into philosophical areas.
Yeah.
No,
and we have an
you try to
article
do
on
something.
that.
Yes, to something beautiful, something that can have a meaning to the author.
So let me
and to the reader, of course.
Yeah. So let me maybe beauty. We have an article, and yes, we could dive into so many things. But I want to quote you on an interview, and you said it is said that a poem is never finished; it is only abandoned. Paul Valéry used to say that. You work on a poem, you polish it, you clean it, you take off all ornaments, all masks, until you get to the root. This is where the poem is. So tell me about, I'm interested, how you decide when the work your work has connected to your language of your soul.
Well, I think poetry is connected always to the soul. In principle, you cannot write without a soul. There's always an intention, and you abandon a poem because you don't keep working on it unless you feel that it has come to an end, and the end is beautiful and conveys a meaning to you and to the reader. But never a poem, excuse me, a poem doesn't end. It can continue forever.
It does continue in the reader, right?
Yes, and there's poetry, there's poems that they're called river poems that continue and continue. It's a poem with a long, long breath and can continue endlessly. It's up to the poet to say it is finished. I think what I had to say has been said.
It reminds me of what Pablo Picasso once said. He said, a painting is never finished. There's always something more you can do, but it's up to the artist to decide when it's time to move on to something else.
Exactly, Eduardo.
And it is so interesting because it's never finished, not only for the originator, for the author, but it's never finished because everybody who looks at an artwork or listens to a poetry continues the process of the poetry in interpreting, in listening, in using the words or the colors or the painting for oneself. That's why it's never finished. I mean, it's like with music, right, Eduardo? You play music, you even wrote music. So
Yes,
I don't know if we still have time.
Yes, we still have time.
There's something that I would like to mention, that not all writers, I'm a writer, of course, not all writers are poets. Poets are like jewelers. This is where beauty comes in. You are jewelers. Why? Because you have to polish the stone, the precious stone, to fit in the ring or the necklace you are working in.
Wow.
And this is very important. And this is why it takes so long, why it's so complicated, and sometimes people think it's difficult. It is difficult because they don't teach it from at an early age. They don't teach us how to listen to poetry and how to find the perfect word that matches our feeling, our state of mind, our state of being, of what we see, what we smell, what we hear, about the different shades of greens or blues.
Deborah Fritz, a sculptor, I had the honor to work with once. She says the search continues until I reach the core, the spiritual level of the sculpture, of the poem, of what you write. Then the work can speak.
Yes, I agree. I agree. You as a poet, set the end of the poem when you listen to it, because poetry is music.
So this is a transformation process. The language of your soul transforms something and reaches the language of other people's souls.
Exactly. It transforms.
Wow. Beautiful.
Art transforms. Poetry transforms. You transform when you feel something, when something moves you. When you're
that's necessary, because when you're producing, you are creating a new, not creating a new energy, you are liberating an energy from yourself and connecting it with one or more people who are using their energy to connect with you, which is why for an artist, it's very important to know to have their own positive feedback from themselves, but it also, not necessarily, but it also helps if they get feedback from others to reinforce what they do. We are not all perfect and we're not all completely strong. We all need the feedback, and artists especially need to know that their creativity has connected.
Indeed, Eduardo, this is a very important point. You say in workshops, in poetry workshops where I have attended, it is fantastic to listen to others, to the work of others, and what they feed you with their comments, and you take notes of those comments, because then the poem starts. You see and you understand that the listener, the reader, is getting your message. It's getting your, it's understands what you're saying, what you're feeling, what you're observing. And it is a transformation. It is transformation between the author and the reader, between the listener and the author, between the poet and the colleague and your colleague, because all poets have this workshops, are your colleagues, are in the same position. You
Mhm.
can say, you can like their poetry, or you cannot like it. That's something, personal. They're poets that move you. They're poets that are more intellectual. There's different kinds of poetry. And of course, there's more, there's old, old authors that, you read them and they certainly are amazing. And there's contemporary authors that are amazing too. And maybe they touch the same issues, the same topics, and it is very rewarding to see that there are three for the poets. There are three aspects that that they write about. It is life, it is love, and it is death. Those are the three pillars, I would say, of poetry.
Mhm. Well, one of the things you've alluded to in talking about older poets, I think it really comes down to a basic fact that creativity is eternal. Creativity is timeless. Very often we'll go to a movie that we see and we enjoy it, and then we find out that 2,000 years ago, Achilles wrote a play that was exactly the same thing. Human desires and human interests and human needs have not really changed over the past 10,000 years. And the way we express them perhaps does. We have new forms of poetry, new forms of music, new forms of dance, but it's still the eternal creative spark inside each artist, inside of each human being that manifests itself.
Precisely, Eduardo. I agree totally with you.
And that in
It's
young people, sorry.
no. Go ahead, Bettina.
No, we interview you. I wish I could listen to some of your poetry,
If you'd like,
but
do
is
you
it in English?
in English? I have to go for the book. Would you? You could have to wait for me 5 seconds
Well,
because
let's
I don't have it with me.
let's finish the interview and then we can continue afterwards.
And we
Yeah.
publish one of the poetry in our article in the comments. What do you think?
Perfect.
Okay.
Perfect. Yes.
So I feel the intensity in you when you speak. I feel it's working in you. It's very, very strong energy. That's why I said I wish I could listen to something now, and we didn't think about it in the beginning. Thank you so much in sharing already so much about what creativity is for you for your work.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you for your questions and for your interest in my work.
Perfect, Claudia. Well, don't go away because after we finish the podcast, we're going to keep on talking with you. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank Bettina and I want to thank Claudia. Her performance was beautiful. And I say performance because every artist, regardless of what they do, performs. It is an expression of what they feel and the way they use language, the way they use their body, the way they use their words and their hands, all expresses something that comes from deep within. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to ask you if you enjoy these articles and you enjoy these webcasts, please invite your friends to join, to subscribe, and to join in the dialogue. And we also look forward to your comments, which we will share with Claudia. And thank you now, and ciao for now. Claudia, thank you so much.
Thank you, Eduardo and Bettina. It was great to be with you this morning.
Bettina,
Ciao.
thank you so much.
Ciao, ciao.
Ciao.